Back with more Heartstopper. This is episode 3 of season 2. Very excited to carry on with the rest of the season, see what's going to happen next. The more observant of you may have noticed I had a haircut since I watched episode 2 earlier today. I haven't just pulled my hair out, from frustration with David and Ben and Harry. But yeah, so there you go. I look different a bit. But yeah, I'm very excited to see what's going to be happening next. I loved the first 2 episodes of this season. I feel like a lot of the groundwork has truly been set now for all the main conflicts and storylines this season. Nick's brother sucks. Really fucking sucks. So he can do one. There's going to be a prom happening. Tao has admitted to himself how he feels about Elle, and he's going to tell her. I'm sure that'll go swimmingly and smoothly, and I'll be very happy about it. Charlie and Nick are facing all these obstacles as well. So, things aren't ideal, but they're just about still wholesome. So I'm going to hold on to that for as long as I possibly can. So, yeah, without further ado, let's just dive into the next episode.
What if you go to a bookshop and choose a book for each other and have a cute little reading day? Isaac, that's your dream date, not ours. Charlie, what do you and Nick do for dates? I mean, we went to the beach. Oh, basic. If this date doesn't work out, then I lose my best friend in the whole world. What about...
Or if the date after doesn't work out.
500 days of summer. Did you hear we're having an end of GCSE party in the woods next week?
In the woods?
We're sorry about what happened at the cinema. We should have spoken up. Thanks. I know you and Charlie are really good mates.
What are the other two look at him like? That's so good.
I have never initiated a kiss. Oh, really? So, what about the changing room? That didn't count. Or the English room? You kissed me first. Or what about the...
They're so sweet.
Boys, I need...
Oh! Oh no. It's fine, she's cool.
If any of the lads say anything out of line, you tell me immediately, alright?
Yes, she will fuck them up.
Yeah.
And I will cheer.
When I was at uni, things were pretty bad. I remember what it was like, telling all my friends.
None of the guys know about me, so...
We don't owe them that information, okay?
That makes me so sad, with the situation with Kit in real life.
Maybe keep the kissing outside of team practice.
It was technically outside of team practice.
What about your history coursework? I haven't helped you with that at all. It's fine. It's done. You are amazing.
Oh, it's not done, Charlie.
Oh, have you read this one? Of course I've read that one. It's all right.
I'm pretty sure Isaac's the only person who's read every book ever. Is it finally time for the awful hair to go? Aww, he's gonna nail that. Nick's good at chemistry with Charlie, so he'll be good at the chemistry exam. What were you so worried about? I remember that feeling so well of being done with school. Back off. Oh.
You're gonna be so annoyed with me after that. Aww. I love you because of how annoying you are. I mean, that's not me asking you to say it back or anything. Yeah.
Oh, I want to cringe into my own flesh. Oh, she was so sad. Don't be sad. She does love you back.
Did you want to come to that end of exams party tonight? Oh, yeah, okay. Cool. Cool. And all your friends should come too, obviously.
Aww.
Very nice. See you there. Bye, Isaac. Bye.
Oh my god.
Everyone. Quiet! Okay, thank you, Mr. Farouk. Boys and girls cannot share rooms.
Oh no.
Heartbreaking, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, Imogen. Oh no. Oh. Oh my god.
Hell.
Hi. These are for you. I like you. Romantically. And I was wondering if you wanted to go on a date. Tonight.
Oh.
You like me back?
Josh? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Hooray! Oh, this is... I wouldn't want everyone else there, but...
What are we seeing?
It's a surprise.
So that's 2 tickets for Moonrise Kingdom at 7:15.
Or not.
My favourite movie.
I know.
But you hate that movie.
Yeah.
But he doesn't
I want
hate
to make this
you.
your dream date. Follow me.
Come on then.
Aww.
Look after him, or you die.
I love her so much. I can't get over how fucking massive those popcorn buckets are. That's insane.
Why did you cut your hair?
Well, it just looks better like this, doesn't it?
I've
Yes.
always liked it long. I hope you didn't cut it for me.
Okay. They need to find their natural chemistry, like, just in this setting. Which is obviously difficult.
I don't know why she didn't just ask.
Maybe she was just embarrassed.
Darcy's the most confident person I know. Literally nothing embarrasses her. Just think about us being out as a couple in Paris. Holding hands in the Louvre. Kissing in front of the Mona Lisa. Yeah.
Oh, I hope it goes well. Ugh. I mean, some of those guys clearly already know. Aw. That's actually me passing time. Oh god. Secondhand embarrassment is real, but it's so true.
I need to talk to you guys.
Oh, there's a lot of people. Oh, man. Oh, just really hate him.
They're kids, so obviously it's not going to last long term.
You really shouldn't have picked that movie.
It's not my fave. But you love it, so...
If we're going on a date, we should do something we both enjoy.
Can you do that now?
My mum should be here in like 5 minutes. Still want to go to this party?
Oh, our friend's there.
I didn't know you invited them. I don't understand what I did wrong tonight.
It's like you were trying to be a completely different person.
You're the one who's completely different.
Oh god,
You've
don't.
gone off with your new
Oh,
friends
okay.
and have forgotten I exist completely.
You're the one who said we'd always put our friendship first.
Well, I guess romance does ruin friendship.
Oh god. I'm gonna jump in there. And I'll drag Harry in with me and toast him like a fucking marshmallow. Teenagers.
I'm fundamentally unlikable.
Don't say that.
Same.
He was probably just trying to impress you.
I liked the old town.
I tried too hard, and I talked too much. I ruined everything.
Tal, please don't say that.
Hmm.
I've liked him for so long.
I'm gonna go home.
You know shit's bad when Tao gets upset like that.
I lost him. Sorry.
You said you'd look after him. Not very good at keeping your promises, are you?
Oh god.
You don't look well. You're bisexual, so you're gonna cheat on my brother. Are you sure you're not just
Oh
gay?
god. Oh god. Stereotypes. Ah.
Why? I didn't want to tell you. Nick doesn't want to talk to you, Harry. Piss off.
Yes, piss off.
I feel really ill. I'm taking you home.
A star.
Okay.
I've wanted to see these two interact.
Just a bit of sunstroke, probably. Nick's so lucky to have you, Charlie.
Oh, I love her. If it is sunstroke, I feel for the guy, because I've had that, and fuck me.
I made you tea.
Is it quality?
You told Harry to piss off. I enjoyed that.
Me too.
So did I. I think there's this idea that when you're not straight, you have to tell all your friends and family immediately. Like you owe it to them. But you don't. Maybe we should forget the coming out plan for a while.
Do it when it feels natural to. Don't try and
Really?
put that pressure on or a timetable to it.
Obviously, I want you to come out when and how you want to. I guess part of me just wants everyone to know you're my boyfriend.
Oh, he fell asleep. I don't know if I've said this before, but they're really sweet. I've said it many times. Okay, another amazing episode. So much kind of tension in there, and a lot of relatable tension, which I think Heartstopper has always been very good at capturing. You know, the awkwardness of, you know, a first date, or just a bad date in general. You know, all those issues that Nick's kind of still having with coming out, understandably so. The whole Tara Darcy kind of tension there. Tara, you know, casually mentioning the L word, and you know, Darcy. I mean, I have no doubt she feels the same way, but you know, it's. I feel like. I think Dara and Tao are quite similar. I think in that way of how they express their feelings, or how they maybe get a bit more insecure. They're not as comfortable being like insecure and vulnerable about how they feel. You know, I think a lot of Darcy's confidence, like Tara was talking about, I think a lot of that probably is just the mask, hiding some of that insecurity. Because, you know, I think if you do pretend to be a super confident person, you know, in time, you might absorb some of that, and you might actually convince yourself that, you know, things are fine, and, you know, everything's going to be okay, and I am confident. You know, I always remember, one of the reasons I think I got into acting, and ended up loving it so much, was because, this sounds so depressing, because I wasn't me on stage, and I could actually be someone who was very confident and outspoken, which I'm just not in real life. So I think some of that maybe comes into play with Darcy, and you know, Tara kind of saying that, I think, has made that suddenly very real, and you know, I think that's kind of temporarily maybe spooked Darcy a bit, which is why, you know, she ended up not going to that party or making her excuses to, you know, not have to be there immediately. But you know, that's going to be a kind of a big tension point, I guess, for those two, and a big part of their arc this season, I think, is them, you know, kind of getting to the next stage of their relationship, I suppose, making things a bit more serious, which is obviously very, very real and scary, no matter how old you are. And I do like the idea of, you know, Heartstoppers exploring that, you know, not every relationship you're going to have as a teenager is just going to be like superfluous and isn't going to last or isn't serious or anything. You know, there are some relationships that, even like childhood sweethearts, that kind of concept, people who get together in high school or college, anything like that, you know, I think there can often be the stereotype of, well, you know, they can never be like serious or long term because you're still so young. But you still can be in love at those ages, and I like that Heartstopper's exploring the kind of intimacy with that. You know, I mean, they've done that with Nick and Charlie since the start, but you know, now they're getting there with Tara and Darcy as well. You know, maybe Elle and Tal will eventually get to that stage if they work through this rough patch, to put it lightly, and beyond that. But I do like that they are portraying these relationships, even if they are between, you know, very young teenagers, as incredibly serious, because they can be, and they certainly are to them at the time, and they can go on to be super serious long-term people, you know, long-term relationships that will last. You know, I know a couple of people, one of my friends at college, she's been with her now fiance, I think, since they were maybe 9 or 10. So, you know, they're going on for 15, nearly 20 years of being together, you know, and they've never been with anyone else. Sometimes people are just lucky and they just find it straight away. And obviously that ended up being a super serious relationship, even if they got together when they were 10, you know. So I really like Heartstopper treating, you know, even relationships between younger people and teenagers as real relationships, because they can be. So yeah, that's really cool. I liked everything with regards to that, and it'll be interesting to see where the tension goes with Tara and Darcy moving forward, in particular with that whole deal. I think it will really help kind of peel some layers away for Darcy as a character, and it's also going to give Tara and Darcy, you know, more screen time and more to do, because I feel like the first 2 episodes didn't have as much for them. So, you know, I feel like we're getting started on that storyline now, which is great. Then somewhat in the background as well, Isaac and James, I believe was his name. Maybe a bit of a connection there. I'm intrigued to see where that's going to go. You know, I don't know if that's going to spawn into its own kind of romance or just a friendship. I mean, it feels like James is very much into Isaac, certainly. That's what it comes across to me. But I know there's a lot of speculation after season 1 that Isaac might be asexual, which would be a cool, you know, underrepresented thing to explore. So maybe that's where that's going to be leading as well. So I do feel like that was something they would maybe lean into with Isaac, and I think that'd be really interesting if they do that. But again, they're setting some groundwork there for more, and I am excited to see where that goes, because again, more screen time for Isaac, who, you know, didn't have as much meat and potatoes, if you will, in season 1. So I'm glad they're kind of, you know, fleshing out his character a bit, playing like peeling back some of those layers as well. What else? Just trying to think of some other maybe side characters in this one before we go into the other stuff. I mean, Tori, I love Tori. I think she's absolutely hilarious. The actress playing her does such a good job. Just those one-liners are just so brutal. And, you know, I like that kind of behind that mask when it's just her and Charlie, you see how much she cares about him, how much she worries for him. So, you know, it's not just like there's a one note to her character or anything. And I really should read the books that Alice has written where Tori's the main character, because I do really, really like her. So yeah, she just has some absolute killer one-liners, and behind that you see the depth of care she actually possesses, even though, you know, again, I guess it's like putting on a mask of maybe anti-socialism, maybe the exact opposite of what I think Darcy might do, or Tao might do, you know, to hide that she does have a heart in there, and I really like that about her. So she's great. We've got a little bit more of Sahar, but hopefully we'll see more of her going forward as well. Captain Singh, she kind of found out about Nick and Charlie. Obviously she was very cool about it, and I liked that scene where, you know, he went to see her in her office and she was like, if anyone says anything out of line, you know, you tell me. She's an ally. And, you know, her kind of opening up about her and her wife and how hard that was to tell friends. So I'm glad that, you know, like the art teacher, whose first name I think was Nathan, they said in this episode. You know, there's like a figure of authority at the school that Charlie had with the art teacher guy in season 1 to kind of rely on and talk to about things. And granted, Nick's just finished school, but it's nice that he's kind of retroactively always had someone like that there for him in terms of Captain Singh. So she's awesome. I really like her and her little bits and pieces that she got in this episode. Speaking of Nathan, I think was his name, and Yusuf, who I think is Mr. Farouk, and that's his first name. So those two teachers, you know, that's just all kind of in the background setting up for the Paris trip, which I'm assuming is coming pretty soon. I would assume. But yeah, I liked their dynamic instantly of Nathan trying to get everyone's attention, then Youth is just like, shut up, and everyone listens to him, because he's quite a terrifying, intimidating man. So again, that dynamic I think is really cool between those two teachers. We'll see what happens with that, I'm sure, when they go on the Paris trip. And I'm sure their professional skills would be tested, because I couldn't be a teacher, man. You just have to ring in some necks, wouldn't you? Like, honestly, I'd be locked up. So yeah, I like how many side characters we are getting in this season. Like even like Imogen and Ben and stuff in the background. I mean, fuck Ben, but you know, he is present. And Harry, fuck Harry, but he is present. And Nick's other kind of rugby friends who we saw at the cinema last season. I do like that they took a time to apologise to Nick in this one, for being bystanders last season and just saying, we should have spoken up, we should have done something. We're not friends with Harry, even though Harry then just came along. But Harry invites himself to everything and thinks everyone likes him when he's a knob. So that's probably what that was. But I like that they did apologise to Nick. And, hopefully Nick will be able to kind of find the right time to come out to them eventually. So yeah, we had all of that. The idea of owing someone your sexuality. I like that they kind of brought that up a few times throughout the episode. I think Captain Singh said it to Nick, and Charlie said it to Nick in that really lovely little speech at the end as well, that really nice ending scene. I do like the idea, like, if, you're not straight, sometimes, people think you owe them that knowledge, which obviously isn't the case, and I like that they are making a point of that and showing that. And it is very sad, kind of reflecting what did happen to Kit Connor in real life, and he kind of was forced to come out, and fans of the show, desperate for answers, feel like they're entitled to know his sexuality, and he ended up just having to out himself to do it, which is just awful. So it's kind of bittersweet seeing that explored in the show. Hopefully that is the show kind of making a point of that, showing that that's it's wrong to kind of think you're entitled to this, for that group of fans who just liked to ruin it and really went against the message of the show, which was very bizarre to see, but it was also very sad to see. So, bittersweet that the show can cover that, given what happened to Kit in real life. I can't remember if that was before or after they would have filmed this, but still, it's nice that they have that message in there as well. I feel like I've forgotten something majorly important, but I will just talk about, I guess the main focuses of the episode now. Tao and Elle, oh my god. I was really surprised at how quickly it kind of, Tao was like, okay, I like you, let's go on the date. I wasn't expecting that to happen anyway, right now. I thought that was going to be maybe nearer the end of the season, if that. That's the trouble with knowing we've already got a season 3 in the bag, because Alice can write this season knowing there's also season 3, so she's probably going to end on an awful bloody cliffhanger, and I'm not excited for that. But it also means, I think I just called them them, sorry. They can kind of write the rest of this season and be like, I can hold this off for season 3. I can end things in a really bad patch for all these people, because I know for sure I have a season 3 to write and kind of repair all of this. So I think maybe that might be what might happen for some stories and some couples, which makes me nervous, but I will cross that bridge in 5 episodes time. But yeah, I think the show is so well paced with that. You're never left feeling like, oh, nothing happened in that episode, because there's always something moving, whether it's plot or character. So I was really surprised at how quickly Tao made that leap and told Elle how he feels. Obviously, I think he did try a bit too hard, and they should have done something they both enjoyed. But it's possible to care too much, and I think, say what you will about Tao, I think he cares too much about things, which can be nice. It's a nice sentiment that he does, but in practice that's not ideal. So yeah, very awkward cinema date, even though it was Elle's favourite movie. She would want Tao to be having a good time on their first date as well, so obviously it's going to be a bit tense. So yeah, that was... I remember me and my ex on, surprisingly, what ended up being our last date. We went to a park to have a picnic and stuff, and we were just silent the whole time. I just could not think of a thing to say. I'm an incredibly awkward person, and as soon as someone dates me, I think I become incredibly boring, which is why I'm going to die alone. But yeah, everything Tam was kind of saying to Charlie is I'm unlikable and I muck everything up. Hard relate to that thought process, unfortunately. But yeah, then it kind of became classic Tao once they got to the campfire place, the bonfire place. And, I think that's just his frustrating at himself, kind of, he's taken it out on Elle a bit. You've changed so much, and, you should have told me you invited your friends, and, he's that scared of losing her, and, I think he was that insecure from, you know, that date. It all just came flooding out, all that frustration and, you know, the insecurity he's kind of having. And that did cause him to lash out at her. He's obviously the last person you'd probably expect him to lash out at. So I think that kind of really shows that he's going through it quite a bit. And I did feel bad for him. He just, you know, got quite emotional and had to leave the party and everything. So, you know, lots of struggles there. Lots for those two to still work out. You know, I'm kind of glad that Elle didn't just kind of go along with it and pretend it was a great date and everything just because it's what she wants. And it obviously is what she wants. But, you know, if being with Tao means that Tao's not himself and he's not being happy, you know, from and how they're spending time together, she's not going to want that relationship for both their sakes, which I think is a huge testament to how great Elle is. And, you know, her potentially moving away to go to the art school, that's going to, you know, they're going to be obviously thinking about that. So there's so much to consider. They've set it up in a way, so there's so many layers and complications to making that relationship work. And Alice has made it seem so flawless and easy to kind of set it up in that way. And, you know, Will and Yasmin have also done an excellent job with their chemistry and portraying those characters. And, yeah, I'm really desperate to just carry on watching the season because I really want to see it hopefully work out for those two. Because I really, really like them together. But, you know, I think big steps are being made. They are aware that they like each other now, which is, even though things didn't quite go to plan in this one, that is still a huge step forward for those two. You know, it's massive that Tao took that step to tell her and ask her out. So, you know, even if things went a bit wrong, some progress has been made, you know. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But lots of kind of complications going on that I'm eager to see ironed out, hopefully, very soon. And then, yeah, Nick and Charlie, poor old Nick really went through it. I mean, when doesn't he? When don't Nick and Charlie just go through it every single episode? But, you know, I do think Charlie has the right... I think Charlie understands Nick's mind, maybe more so than Nick does. Very much like I think Elle understands how Tao's mind works better than Tao himself does. I very much think Charlie's that way in regards to Nick, because he's kind of been through the coming out process before. He's been through the bullying before. You know, he knows how hard that can be, and he doesn't want that to happen for Nick. So he's very, unfortunately, sadly, he is wise on that subject. So the idea of putting a timetable on coming out to people and saying, I'm going to do it at this party, I'm going to do it here, instead of just letting it happen when it happens and not feeling like you owe that to anyone. I think that is a much healthier kind of mindset towards it, to just scrap all that and just wait and see. You know, when it happens, it will happen. And, you know, since Charlie knows that, you know, Nick is genuine in his feelings and, you know, he's not stringing Charlie along or anything like that. You know, he is such a good guy, he's more than willing to wait and be patient for that, because hopefully they can reap the rewards of that one day. So yeah, just the whole party atmosphere and stuff, I don't think it was the right moment, and I think that's kind of a big theme with this episode, is it maybe not just quite being the right moment, the right situation. You know, certainly, you know, Nick trying to come out to his rugby friends, Tao and Elle, you know, going on the date that they did, just, you know, kind of not... They tried, but not quite right. I think that's kind of a thing that happened with a lot of situations. Even, you know, Tara saying, I love you to Darcy in the way that she did. You know, that's not how they would have imagined it to go. It didn't go as smoothly as they would have anticipated. But, you know, it's nearly the right idea, not quite fully shaped yet. So there's a lot of that. I've just remembered something I was going to talk about as well. Just a little moment with Imogen, when they were kind of talking about going off on the Paris trip. And, you know, she's kind of like, I don't have anyone, because obviously they've split into like boys and girls, and she sat with Ben and all his friends. So that was really sad. That kind of broke my heart a little bit. And I do like that they, you know, keep having little moments like that to just remind us of, like, here's where Imogen's at. And, you know, she mentioned to Nick in the last episode, doesn't really have that many friends, which is why she's still gravitated and still quite defensive when it comes to Ben. So it's just another reason why she needs to join the main friendship group. But that was just another little kind of side character thing that, you know, made me feel sad. But yeah, everything kind of going on with Nick and Charlie, it's all just, we're getting to the, we're getting nearly halfway through the season, so things are going to start getting quite messy and stuff, Even like this time last season, I think we just had Nick and Charlie's first kiss, wasn't it? That was episode 3 of last season, so it was a tiny little bit of angst at the end of that one until they immediately sorted it out and everything was fine. But maybe we're not going to be getting that one in, this much more mature season. I think we're going to have to hold on to the angst for a bit longer than we had to in season 1. But yeah, I just felt bad for, I think Nick was kind of making himself sick. I think there's, sickness can be quite psychological. I've certainly found that in the past year or so, because I'm just constantly ill. And yeah, Charlie just kind of looking out for him, I think it was really sweet. And I love that Charlie and Nick's mum got a little scene together. Hopefully we get a few more of them. I was really, really hoping to get some of that this season. So that was great that they did have a little moment. And, Nick's mum was like, he's so lucky to have you. Hooray! And Nick's brother was nowhere to be seen, which is also a big positive. So yeah, I loved everything with that as well. But everyone, as always, is going through it. Being a teenager was so awful. Being an adult's awful, but being a teenager is also quite awful. So yeah, I do appreciate them. I guess there's kind of like the Heartstoppery vibes and the Heartstoppery overlay. It's like, still kind of a wholesomeness to it and an adorableness to it. And, the presentation of it's obviously like, we know it's a TV show, but I think there's a lot of realism there as well, and the way they're presenting the relationships is very realistic, and the problems they're facing. So it continues to just be a great kind of depiction of what it's like to be that age and have relationships at that age. I think sex education, particularly at the start of the show, I think was very good at doing that as well. I think it lent in a bit into like the wacky, weird, we're a funny, quirky show thing, with like the goat and the poo and the coach and the cat whole incident. If you know, you know. I think they lent a bit too much into that for it to kind of still stay as realistic. But for now, at least, and hopefully they stick with it. Heartstopper's doing that brilliantly. And yeah, I'm excited to see where they go with this now and what's going to happen next. Probably more angst, more pain, more Harry, more Ben, more David. But for the time being, I'm just going to still enjoy the ride. And I will also have to say, just as like an ensemble, the cast is amazing this season. I mean, they were great last season as well. But considering how young they all are, like them presenting these problems, like you really do buy into like these are real people, and they genuinely, how they found all these people in the casts, like just like that for season 1, they just got it so right. Insane. They're all insanely good. So I wanted to shout all those out as well, because they do have some moments in some episodes, and you have like your breakout stars from season 1 and everything. But this season, I really do feel like it's a level playing field with like performance-wise from everyone. They're doing such an amazing job. And I'm sure they're going to keep delivering on that material. So, when the writing's good and the performances are great, you get something as brilliant as this show, and I continue to enjoy reacting to it and watching it, and talking to you guys about it. So, yeah, that is going to be everything for the time being. Great episode again. This might be my favourite episode of the season so far, even though it was very kind of intense and awkward at times. I was kind of cringing my way through Tao and Elle's date, but you're supposed to. So there is a lot of that, but I really, really enjoyed, how much escalation there was. Not just for like Nick and Charlie, because obviously like they're like the main couple of the show, but everyone kind of had little moments of escalation in this one, which I do appreciate. So yeah, we're seeing the stories quite balance out a lot more now, which is really cool to see. It's definitely, I think it definitely feels a bit more of an ensemble show this season than last season, which I personally am enjoying that evolution of. And long may it continue. Hopefully there'll be some good stuff to come. I imagine Paris is pretty imminent, the Paris trip. That feels like a middle of the season-ish kind of thing to do. So that should be coming eventually. I'm excited for that. And yeah, that is going to be everything for now. Brilliant episode yet again. This season is off to an incredibly strong start. And I look forward to reaching the halfway mark with the next one. But until my next reaction, thanks for watching.